What's up, and welcome to Brewing Through the Multiverse. This is episode 22 now. How we doing, man? Welcome.
Doing well. Excited to talk about some Thunder Junction.
Yeah, dude. So many cards this week. So many cool cards. I am pouring myself a blue milk. I ended up with a blue milk. They just
word.
keep on coming around.
I've actually had that.
Yeah, so anyone with camera, just check out how damn blue this is.
It's like not beer, I feel like. That's one of the drinks where I'm like, where is the line for beer drawn?
Oh my god, it's so good. Yeah, this is not
It's
beer.
just like a thick, creamy liquid with like the barest hint of like bubbles, carbonation.
Yeah, it tastes exactly like a blue pina colada.
Yeah,
it's so
like,
tasty.
Where's the beer?
Right here. I love it. I also have a Down Under bomb from Sloop.
Oi, Down Under.
Down Under. I'm pumped for that one. But yeah, 8 o'clock in the morning. Let's do it.
Yeah, dude.
How's your week been? You play any Magic? You do anything crazy?
No, I'm hurting. I need more Magic in my life, and it's been sad not playing recently. It's been a couple weeks. All these spoilers coming out for all these things that I want to play and build, and I'm like, why am I building more decks? Stop.
Yeah, it I did get to play. We played. I have some funny stories about that. We played last Saturday, but this weekend we've been trying to make it work, and there's just no way to push it in on an Easter weekend. It's a shame because I officially.
Jesus.
Yeah, right. Come on, man! Couldn't you wait a few days before you came back to save us? But yeah, so I ended up getting all of the cards now officially for my 2 new decks.
Word.
And I'm dying to play them out. Let me just start off with the Commander games from Saturday. So I played with Keldon, Nick, and Troy.
Troy's back in action.
Yeah, and it's so funny. He played so tight. His deck was so good, and you could tell he's just ready for more Magic. So actually, we're building standard decks to go to the March 11th Standard Showdown or Standard Championship. Just to go play some standard. That's his format right now, and we're going to try to put something together. So if you're down, May 11th at Nemesis, we'll be doing some standard championship. But all right, so it ended up not that it was a disaster, but about 10 minutes that everybody showed up, my power went out. We had no power. So we had to play. I have this huge, Pennsylvania floodlight flashlight that I got, and we set it up in the middle, and that was our light source. But there was no music. My children are home, which means they have no internet. Which
means raw and quiet.
Dude, yeah. So, they were kind of like, well, entertain us, and they ended up going to make forts upstairs. But they were around. We didn't have power, and then it got dark, and it was really dark, and literally the second everyone left, the power came back on. So it was like the entirety of the games with no power.
That's fun.
Yeah. But they were all good games. Like I said, Troy played great. Keldon and Nick were there. They won all the games. Me and Troy did not win a single game. And it's definitely not, not by power level or anything. It's just how the cookie crumbles.
Sometimes, yeah.
I also say that it was kind of a shit show because I got drunk really quick this game.
No.
I was hosting, and I, had an empty stomach, and it got wild. So I meant to take notes. I have notes. I don't know if you can see here. I got 4 lines of notes. The first one was trying to be all professional. I was writing who played, what we played. My first one was the my Ishin deck for the Cast from Exile.
Yeah.
Ishin did not show up. So I put Jan Jensen as the commander because I had him, and it was just a filler. He's staying the commander. You were 100% right on that, dude. I thought that I would be so busy trying to do other things that I wouldn't be using his stuff, but
nope.
Just turning that one junk into 2, into the creatures to make treasures, it was worth it. You were right 100%. and that Jan Jensen is now officially the commander. My other notes were Troy cast the innkeeper right at the beginning, and it felt great. We were back in there.
Who cut his deck?
I'm sure he's got 4 or 5 of them in there.
Yeah, snuck a couple in there.
And then my other note, crossing through 2 lines, was Alarin Searing Light was great. So Alarin Searing Light, I cast it. It was an instant speed 2 red white, and it says each opponent sacrifices their creature of the greatest power. And then it has spell mastery, where something additional happens. And I honestly don't remember. I did have spellcast mastery, but the big thing was that instant speed, being able to get rid of everybody's biggest creature, is, I can't say how great that was.
Yeah,
and I used it to the best of its ability. But yeah, that's pretty much all I collected. It was power outaged and I was wasted. It was a good time.
That sounds like a good commander night to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm looking forward to some more, man. Any arena? No, right? You haven't been.
No, we'll get there. But next week we'll definitely have played a few
know.
games next week.
Yeah, after we go over these spoilers, I'm sure you'll see what you want to play for the new.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, a couple of them have made me say like, "Wow, that would be kind of fun."
Yeah, I mean, I know you already have that Guff's triplets deck built, and a lot of these cards are easily just putting 1/1 counters on all your creatures and such.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think you could just take what you already have and just beef it up even nicer. So let's do it, man. Let's hop into these Thunder Junction spoilers.
Cool. So before we get into any specific cards,
Yes.
I just wanted to talk about some of the specific mechanics from the set. And now that we have, all of them, get your take on them. So first is plot, where you pay a cost, you exile the card, and then you can cast it as a sorcery later on without paying its mana cost.
Yeah.
Thoughts on plot?
I really like plot. I think it's a good blend between what is it, Foretell, and what's that one that you put it away? The time counters on it. What's the time counter?
Suspend.
Beautiful little blend of that, where it's like you're paying for it early, you put it on layaway, you come pick it up later when you're ready for it. I really like it. I don't think it's a mechanic I'm going to use too much, but I could see this being useful in the multiverse. What do you think?
So actually, I at first thought plot was just like Foretell in one key feature, which was I didn't realize until like a couple of days ago, which, reading the card explains the card, that plot doesn't exile the card face down. So they're able to see what's been plotted. I believe, based on my read of it, exile this card from your hand. It doesn't specify that it's exiled face down. So unlike Foretell, which I believe does tell you to exile it face down.
Right. Right.
So that kind of sullied my opinion a little bit, because I was hyped on plot, actually, because I like the idea of saying like, oh, I could stack all this up and then use it in the future. It also, a little bit mechanically for the name, doesn't work for me, because to me a plot is something that you do in secret and then you spring the plan. Whereas, if everyone knows what you're plotting, then like, I'm going to play around that. So that kind of like changed my opinion a little bit. I still like the idea that you can play it for free in the future, and it's in exile, so the vast majority of cards aren't able to touch it at that point, even if they can see it coming. So it's cool. Not as hype as I was when I first saw it, though.
All right, I see what you mean. I honestly, I kind of like it. Well, not that I like it being face up, but I'm sure you can use the face up ability to kind of, just use it, put it out there, make them play around it, and then expect them to play around it. And as long as you're always one step ahead of them, You're doing it. You're giving them information, yes, but you can do it for free. And we'll go over some plot cards that
Yeah.
I think, whether it's exposed to them or not, you're going to get some great value out of it. But I like it. Like I said, I don't think I'm really going to use it so much. It's not something that I'm going to be looking to build around. But, maybe you could do disguises and plots where your creatures are unknown, but your sorceries and instants are known.
But everyone can see your plot. Why'd they call it plot? Doesn't make sense.
That's the big, I agree with you 100%
Plots are
on
secret.
that. Yeah, so secret. Yeah, no one's doing like the public plot.
All right, then it's not a plot anymore. It's just a plan. That's called plan.
Yeah, they misnamed this. That's fair. But then it would be literally just foretell. It would just straight up be foretell.
Well, except foretell is you pay more mana in the future.
Yes. Okay.
So it'd be
they could have gotten away with it.
Free foretell planning. So the next mechanic I love. I think this is one of the coolest mechanics to come out in a long time. Spree, where a card has a mana cost, and then there's modes on it, and you have to pay additional costs similar to Kicker to activate those different modes, but you could choose to activate all of them if you wanted to, or just one. So Spree, big fan.
Yeah, that's going to be the mechanic that Thunder Junction will be known for. It is going to be something that's played forever in Commander, in Standard, maybe other formats. I don't know. But I think the ability to just pay that extra to get so many values on one card is just everything you could ever ask for in this game. So that'll be the shining star of this set, in my opinion.
Agreed. There's the outlaw batching cards. I think that's cool. Give a new group of creatures a shot at getting a commander deck, essentially.
Yeah, I like it.
Just like party.
There's a lot of them. It's kind of hard to remember. What is it? 6 of them? Like mercenaries, rogues. You got it listed out there. Here we go. Assassins. Go ahead. No.
You already started. I heard it.
Here we go. Assassins, mercenaries, pirates, rogues, warlocks. There's no real connection, and that's like a lot. So like,
they're all just kind of bad.
Yeah, they gotta make sure that this reminder text is on anything that says outlaws, because my mind will never remember this layout. Historic, I know that. Legendaries and artifacts. Okay. What is it?
And sagas, right?
You can remember that.
Are sagas historic?
Let's check and see. I would say yes, but I don't know. Are sagas legendary? Nope. Sagas historic. Yeah, you can do this faster. I'm doing it on my phone. Saga cards are historic. Yes, you are correct. All right. Nice. All right. What else we got?
And I don't know if there's any more set specific besides plot, outlaws.
Mount.
That's the other one. There, saddle.
That's it. Saddle. Yes. What do you think of saddle? Now that we know,
I think it's cute. I mean, I haven't seen anything besides the red horse that I was like, I can't wait to saddle this thing. But it reminds me of Crew. I mean, I like that, like a vehicle, like except that it could attack on its own without needing to be crewed. So that's cool.
Yeah, it feels very much like Enlist to me. Where, like tap in. Enlist is to tap a creature to pump a creature. Where this is like not technically just a straight pump, but it's an ability pump. So I think it's cool.
And unless I'm going with tokens, I really don't like those mechanics too much, because I generally would rather have the 2 creatures available.
Yeah.
Than attack, like waste 2 to a like a potential blocker for an added effect on attack. Well, and like I said, there was only the one saddle effect that I was like, wow, that's actually seems super worth saddling.
Yeah. Yeah, that value has to be worth it to be able to, not sacrifice one of your creatures, but give up one of your creature's abilities to block in order for this creature to do something else. It
That's a
better
lie
be good.
too. There's two that I think are awesome.
Ooh,
I
all
forgot
right.
the other one.
All right. Well, let's jump into it.
Yep.
Let's start with the saddle cards. What are the ones that you're into?
All right, so they're both like rares. The first one I thought was super cool was Calamity Galloping Inferno, which is 4 in red for 4/6 legendary horse mount with haste. Enters the battle. Oh no, it attacks saddled. You choose a non-legendary card that creature that saddled it, and then you create a tapped and attacking copy, a token copy of that card. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the end step, but then you repeat the process once. So you're getting 2 copies of a non-legendary card tapped and attacking with Calamity. You're getting the ETB effects of those 2 cards, I believe, right? Um,
Yeah, because they're going to be
yeah,
created, so they will enter. Yeah,
and then you could copy the thing that saddles it, and it's only saddle one, so essentially anything could saddle it too. So
yeah,
I
literally
think that's
anything, and it
going to
has
be very
haste.
strong.
It could swing right away, and if you have War Leader's Call out,
Ah,
that's going to be dealing 2 damage for the 2 copies that enter. They're going to be pumped. You're going to swing out, and the ETBs of whatever's happening. So Calamity should be played with War Leader's Call for sure.
everything in Boros should be played with War Leader's Call.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, my God, yeah.
I don't know
Turn
any
mono red
Boros
into.
strategy that wouldn't want War Leader's Call.
Yeah, we better buckle up or saddle up and get ready for some War Leader's Call.
Topical. And then my other saddle card of choice is our old friend the Gitrog, Ravenous Ride.
Okay, yeah.
3 black green for a 6/5 legendary frog horror mount with trample and haste. Lots of haste here, which is great. Whenever it attacks, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you can sacrifice a creature that saddled it. Again, the saddle cost is 1, so you can use anything. If you do draw X cards, then put up to X lands from your hand onto the battlefield tapped, where X is the sacrifice creature's power. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And my first thought is it's what is its cost to saddle it?
1.
1. Okay, so Greedy Freebooter would be the perfect thing. You saddle it with Greedy Freebooter, you attack, you sack Greedy Freebooter, you get a treasure, you scry 1, and then you could put a land out. Greedy Freebooter is a great one for this,
Love Greedy Freebooter.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this card. Gitrog is always, they take such good care of Gitrog for good reason. And this card will do some work.
I hope he didn't eat Thalia though.
No.
I hope they didn't. I hope they didn't let him eat Thalia.
No, he's a good little frog. He won't do that.
No, he's not.
I know the artwork on it is quite ravenous.
Fucked up.
No, I mean a 5-mana 6/5 with trample and haste alone, like that's so good.
His stats.
Good. And there's so many Golgari, Death Touch, and First Strike, and I mean Glissa, and there's another one in here we'll talk about. But dude, Golgari's got the love. This.
Well, you might as well bring it up since we're on it.
All right, where is it then? Oh, not that I have it backed up. There is another one. Hold on.
Oh, did I throw you off order?
Yeah, well, yeah. I do random screenshots as they.
Oh, word. Okay,
we'll get to it.
We'll get there.
So while we're on mounts, I want to shout out the one mount that I was interested in. It is a blue mount, the Newt. It is Archmage's Newt. Mm-hmm. It is 1 in a blue, 2/2, so 2-mana 2/2. When Archmage's Newt deals combat damage to a player, target instant or sorcery card in their graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to its mana cost. That card gains flashback 0 until end of turn if Archmage's Newt is saddled. The saddle is 3, so that's a little bit higher than you would want it to be. But if you saddle it up and you swing and you have hit the mother load in your graveyard,
Oh
you get
God,
to
that
cast
card.
that shit for free.
Yeah,
I'm
love that
I
card.
Yeah, I have a, I have that shell that I was talking about where I am trying to cast as many as possible. And I honestly, I think I'm going to put this in and try it out. Just see. I mean, if I have because I don't want to swing with my Vatic or whatever his name is, but I would love to saddle him into the newt and swing with the newt and then get another one of them. Or, there's just so much you can cast with this. Even just a quick study where you draw 2 cards. Yeah, I'll do that, So I think that's a pretty good thing, and I'm sure there'll be more instants and sorceries that you could do. Now, if you were to cast Spree with this, would you be able to add the added cost after it's been cast for 0?
Ch-
Because it's not, plays
Choose,
it
yeah,
from
choose
exile.
one or more additional costs. Yes, I'd imagine you could cast it with Spree. You
Yeah,
could
so
spray it up.
the cost would be free, and then you have to personally pay into the Spree, right?
Yeah, because it reminds me of like it must be because it's like cards that are like, oh, in addition, like sacrifice a creature. Like if you flash that back, you'd still need to sack the creature
Yeah,
to like cast like anything at like an additional cost. I think you have to pay.
yeah. All right, so that'd be cool.
So then my question then is, if you cascade it into a spray card, would you then need to pay? Yes, and you'd have to pay some mana to like cast any of the modes. These are
Yeah,
very bad for cascading and discovering. Well, not very
yeah.
bad, but
But you're not going to
well,
get any of the modes.
actually, well, no, that's the thing.
So,
Maybe can you? Let's look that up. Let's learn together. Do
all
you
right.
pay additional costs when cascading?
Dude, I would think you would have to, because all Cascade is doing is paying that top mana value. I don't think it would pay any of the other stuff. I think you're stuck with the bill. If you cascade into this, you're stuck with the bill. You're gonna have to pay. I'm looking at one of my favorites right now.
Well, yeah. So actually, I actually think that maybe actually these are low key not that bad now that I'm thinking about it because their converted mana costs are all lower than the effects that are printed on them.
Yeah.
So you could cascade into it with a lower CMC, card or
Mm,
discover amount, and then pay to get effects that are bigger than what you technically should be cascading into.
right. Okay. Yeah. So there's an aura enchantment in red. It's 3 mana, 2 in a red, Atali's Favor. And when you enchant creature, you get to discover 3. And that might be a good way to pump a creature and then hopefully, discover into one of these, low. So I'm looking right now at Trash the Town. It's a single green instant spree card, and you can pay 2 mana to put 2/1/1 counters on target creature. You could pay 1 mana to target creature gains trample until end of turn, and you could pay 1 mana until end of turn. Target creature gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player. Draw 2 cards. So, like what you're saying is, if you were to drop Atali's Favor, it's pumping the creature. Then it discovers 3. You happen to pass across Trash the Town, which is only 1 mana, so
Yeah.
that's free. And then what? You drop another 1 mana so that your creature gains when it deals combat damage. Target player draws 2 cards. So like I could see where hitting into a spree, you pay minimal and you get what you need to get from it. And it's not from your hand, so it's just added value.
Yeah.
That's the big thing right now is like card draw is good, but we're at a point in Magic where you don't have to draw cards anymore. Get it off exile, get it off of a trigger, get it off of like drawing cards is good, always good. But there's other ways to get stuff done without even need to bring it to hand, Recursion is so much.
I'll keep drawing
Are,
cards though.
are there any spree cards that you're like eyeing right up?
Oh, so many spree cards that I'm eyeing right up. I
All right,
love Final Showdown. Yeah, it's a single white pip instant with spree. 1 mana to all creatures lose all abilities end of the turn. 1 mana for choose a creature you control, it gains indestructible until the end of turn. Or 5 mana, 3 and 2 white to destroy all creatures. So that's awesome.
Yeah. The 6 mana to destroy all creatures isn't the greatest rate ever.
No.
But the
But
fact that that card also does the other two
not to
is
mention it's an
incredible.
instant speed board wipe.
Oh,
Which are
oh
usually
my
it's
god.
4 mana for sorcery speed, sure. So you're paying 2 extra mana for the flexibility of having an instant speed, and if you have the mana, if you have the 7 mana, you know, I guess it's tough holding open 7 mana in anything other than commander. But give one of your things indestructible, and then you wipe the rest of the board, and then it's your turn.
That's awesome. I didn't even put to the fact that this board wipe was instant speed. That
Yeah,
is so cool.
and then
Awesome.
additionally in commander, get rid of those pesky indestructible effects. Get rid of those pesky, like, if it would die, do this thing effects
Yeah.
because it loses all abilities. So,
Yeah.
love that
Yeah.
card. That's awesome.
All
Another
right. Yeah.
one that I saw, what I was very excited about, that I even texted you about, was Rush of Dread, which is 1 black for sorcery. You can pay 1 to target opponent, sacrifices half the creatures they control, rounded up. 2 to target opponent, discards half the cards in their hand, rounded up, and another 2 to target opponent, loses half their life, rounded up. And I'm excited to put that in Zevlor, which if you have a single target on a spell, an instant or sorcery, you copy it for each other opponent. So you pay was it 3 plus another 5, so you pay the 8 mana to target one person with all 3 modes, and then every player in the game gets targeted. All your opponents get targeted with those. So
Yeah.
that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that. Um, what is the vampire from New Capenna that this is pretty much all three parts of his from? What's
Oh,
his name? Not Xanathar, no. I don't even
Callus something. Yeah,
New Capenna vampire commander. Here we go. Lord Xander. That's what it
yeah,
is.
Lord Xander,
So
perfect.
it's pretty much do all the things that Lord Xander would do, but on an instant speed. On a Is it instant or sorcery? Sorcery, right?
This is sorcery.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, that's pretty good, and having that happen to each opponent could definitely not win a game, but pretty much set it in your favor because that's a lot of hate to happen at one time.
Something that I'm even more excited for, and I think I'm gonna put this in pretty much every deck that I have black in, is Insatiable Avarice. It's 1 black pip for sorcery. Um, 2 additional mana. Search your library for a card, then shuffle and put that card on top. 1 black and black for target player draws 3 cards and loses 3 life. And I love this card just for the second portion of it. So for
Yeah,
3 black, you can draw 3, lose 3, which, yeah, that's not, the most exciting thing. However, I feel like when you're talking about, like, when you're in mono black or stuff, like, black has plenty of ways to draw cards, but I personally still run cards like Knight's Whisper and
Sign in Blood.
Sign in Blood, and then there's a 4 mana one that's like Reckless Ambition or something. I think it's called, where you draw 3, lose 3.
Yeah,
Um,
the 4 mana draw 3, lose 3. Something
so
ambition.
yeah, something, yeah, but whatever. So, like, I like the fact that it's only 3, or even my old favorite, Read the Bones.
Read the
Love Read the
Bones is the
Bones.
best
Yeah, I love
forever.
Read the Bones. I know it's not a great card. I know that there's better options, but I find myself often slotting in Read the Bones just because I like being able to see 4
Scry 2, draw
cards.
2. Yeah.
Exactly. And I know this is more color restrictive because it's the 3 black costs to do that, but you're also getting to draw 3 cards, and if you have mana later in the game, once you get to the 5 mana, then it's find anything plus draw 2. You know what I mean? So I like that it has the scalability. You know what I mean? Like it's not super exciting up front, but that's why Spree is awesome because the later in the game you go, these cards still stay super relevant because you have the mana to spend on doing multiple modes.
Yeah, it's ultimately is like here's an underwhelming card that'll do something, but you can also turning it into a valuable card that'll do something, or you could turn it into high value into one
Yeah.
card. You
Which is
choose
what
whatever it is.
I yeah, and that's why I end up liking it even more than other modal cards because other modal cards are valuable because you never know, like you could yeah, I saw that fingering that blue shit out of there.
Gotta get all that blue shit out of there for
Oh
my
yeah.
sloop.
Um but other modal cards, they're valuable because like they can fill a bunch of different functions, but ultimately those modal cards usually only fill one function, whereas Spree will fill every function. Later in the game you go. So, big fan of
Yeah.
Spree, big fan of Insatiable Avarice. Probably going to end up putting it in most decks that I have that are like 2 colors with black. Maybe even 3 colors with black, honestly. 3 black, black. 3
Oof.
black isn't. I mean, I don't feel like 3 black is hard to hit. If
Yeah.
your mana base is built correctly,
That's the thing, and you are the most attentive to your land base, so you'll hit it no problem between your rocks, your land base, and everything. Yeah,
yeah,
why
make it
not?
happen. I'm very rarely
Maybe not
stuck
in a
on
5
mana.
color, but three
No,
three
no,
color
yeah,
for sure. That makes
three. I would say 3 is on the edge, absolutely on the edge, and that also depends on what the other color is. Because if you're in green, there's or blue where like card draw is like super easy to get, then no. But like if I'm in like Mardu, for instance, I would run this in Mardu for the card draw.
yeah, yeah. I have a spree card I want to shout, but before I do, let me just say I found that 3 mana Golgari card that I wanted to
Here it
say,
is.
just so it's like not like oh Michael's just yelling shit. I found it. But to stick with the spree cards, I do want to say 3 steps ahead is the one that I think was the
Yeah,
most impressive to me. It's a single blue instant, and you can pay 1 in a blue to counter target spell. So a 3 mana counter target spell, which is a fair value. But you can also pay 3 mana to create a token that's a copy of target artifact or creature you control. That's a big thing right now. We have so many monster creatures that just making a copy at instant speed of something that you have is a good thing.
big.
But the last one is honestly what I think is the best is for 2 mana, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. So you can this is a wait till the end of turn. If there's nothing to counter for 3 mana, just draw 2 and discard 1. If they swing at you with something that you weren't expected for, make a copy of a creature you control, block it with that. This has so many things that blue wants to do of do I want to counter? Do I want to unexpectedly block and kill something of theirs? Because blue doesn't have much removal. So the ability to turn a creature into a removal spell is huge. Or do I just want to keep on drawing and further my game? I think 3 steps ahead is something that could be um, almost past standard. This is something that has enough value to do something. As a
I
non-blue player,
I was gonna say I like this card. It's powerful, but I immediately got horrible images in my head of all of the control players in standard that are gonna sit on this, and now they have this like, so it's a cancel, at its lowest form of just 3 blue, but at the
yeah,
same time, like just the fact that yeah they have that option if nothing was counterable, they can draw 2, or later in the game when they're sitting on all their mana and they draw a go and you try to play something, then it's countered and then they draw the cards, or they're creating copies of like that what is it, 5/4 flying whatever that was Sphinx thing that's going to be a closer in control decks.
yeah,
So
dude, yeah. There's Giving blue modal is scary. All colors love modal, but something about blue at
Yeah.
instant speed modal just, oh, I don't know, makes me a little
Nope.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. So that I foresee that being huge in control.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, before we go too much further, though, there was one more saddle card that I wanted to bring up that I forgot, and I think this card,
Saddle.
this is
All right, hit me.
this is another card that I think can go in most decks. Caustic Bronco, 1 and a black for a 2/2 Snake Horse mount. Whenever it attacks, reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. You lose like equal to that card's mana value. If it isn't saddled. Otherwise, each opponent loses that much life. So if it's saddled, they lose the life. If it's not saddled, you lose the life. I like it because it's 2 mana for a 2/2, with a very similar effect to like Twilight Prophet or I want to
Dark
say
Confidant.
yeah, Dark Confidant, exactly. There's a Sorin that does something similar too. So like even if you're just using
Keen
it,
Duelist.
yeah, as a 2 mana 2/2, that when it attacks, it's essentially just like a card draw on such a cheap creature. And sure, you're losing the life commander that's less serious, but even in standard. And then if you do happen to have the ability to saddle it, you know, then they lose the life too. So I don't know. I think this card is good, low key.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
If
cheap
you were,
card draw.
I mean, if you're in a Shieldred build and you're not swinging with Shieldred and Shieldred's gaining you life and this and that, like crew it with Shieldred
Yeah.
and swing with it. Get that extra card draw. It's going to
Make them
deal
lose
more
life.
damage to them. They're going to have to draw to handle these two creatures now. It's a great card. There is nothing wrong with losing life when you're playing black. Give all the
Nope.
life you can.
The only life that
Greatness
matters
level.
is the last one.
That's it. Yeah. And all right, so if we're on saddle still, before we go to my Golgari card, Ordinary Tumblewag.
Yeah.
2 and a green, 2/2. So it's a 3 mana 2/2. But at the beginning of combat on your turn, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Um, always good. Always good.
Yeah.
Pump up the creatures. And when the saddle is 2, which is decent. When Ordinary Tumblewag attacks while saddled, double the number of 1/1 counters on target creature. So I'm speaking for this specifically, honestly, for my Kate the Brawler deck. This is something I'm almost considering putting in because just doubling counters on a creature. Um, okay, it'll on each turn put a 1/1 counter on a creature, and that's important. But then also being able to double it is it can be massive. It can be massive. And this whole set has a 1/1 counter theme. So there could be a build where this little tumblewag as a pumping itself each turn could be good. It grows with each turn that happens if you just put it on it. And then if you decide to get it crewed up and it already has 3 counters, now it gets 6 counters. So it's got something for commander. It's got something for standard, and I'm hoping to see some bushwag mounts up in our face.
Yeah, just like how it's pretty aggressively costed. It's only 3 mana for a 2/2, which isn't on rate, but you give it gives itself the counter, so then it's a 3/3, and yeah, I just think the put 1/1 counter combat is a great effect. So great card, can go in a lot of decks. I'm sure our local Hydra player is gonna sneak that into his Tyranids and his Hydra deck. So we'll see that
Yes.
soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Just take one of those random things that was one of those tokens that was created, saddle it up with this swing, and suddenly double something that's
Yeah,
already been doubled because Lord knows Hydras will
every other
double on
effect.
their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be good. All right. Let me just throw out this Golgari card.
All right.
It's
So anyway,
the biggest. It's the biggest one. Vraska the Silencer.
Oh shit. Okay.
1 green, 1 black green. It's a 3/3 for 3 with Death Touch. Whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, you may pay 1. If you do, return that card to the battlefield tapped under your control. It's an artifact creature with, sacrifices to make a mana of every color, and it loses all other card types. But it doesn't lose all other abilities. So for 3 mana, you get a 3/3 with Death Touch. Hell yeah. And then you can, whenever something of your opponent's dies, pay 1 mana to ramp, is really what it says. Pay 1 mana ramp, and then possibly get ETBs of whatever that died.
Or static effects.
Or or static effects. Yeah, man. So I like this card a lot. I think Golgari is just going to keep on getting powered up. There's also that, there's the Moss Dread Knight in there right now, and there's the Glissa, and dude, Golgari is going to be something I'm not going to build because I feel it's already just so clearly powerful.
Yeah, no, Vraska, I saw that and I thought it was
Huge.
super cool.
Huge.
I would love to run a Golgari commander deck where it's just like removal and her, and then you just utilize the abilities of the creatures your opponents have to do fun things. Or you sacrifice them for treasures.
Well, that's it. It's an emergency. It's mana, which is the best thing in the world in our game. We love mana.
We love mana.
But it'll also add up with the ETBs and statics. So yeah, Vraska is going to be awesome. I think Golgari is going to be a huge thing. All right, so let's zoom out here. What other cards have you seen that kind of shook you or you want to call out here? Because I have a few commander cards. But
of course, there's always commander. I mean, Magic is the Magic, the commandering. Especially in sets with all these legendary creatures, which is every set nowadays. So I'll shout out a couple things real quick. Terror of the Peaks is a great reprint. Shit was sneaking up in price, so I'm glad that's going to come down. Same thing with Archangel of Tithes. Also, I love the art on Archangel of Tithes. That's a fucking slick looking desperado chick. So super cool how they like approached angels in this set. My lead for what commander would I like to build is Kellen the Kid, which is Bant for a 3/3 flying lifelink. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, so that's Cascade, that's Discover, that's Plot, that's Foretell, Suspend, so many different things. You can cast a permanent spell with equal or less of mana value from your hand without paying its mana cost. If you don't, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. I think that's a lot of fun. There's so many ways to activate it, and I like casting things for free.
Yeah. This is an awesome build because you could build this in many different ways. I mean, there's so many ways to cast things not from your hand, from your graveyard, from your library, from anything. Oh, hold on, wait. I might be reading this wrong. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand. Okay, yeah. Okay, so foretell stuff, plot stuff, exile stuff. This is a great way, and you can build it any way you want.
Suspend.
Yeah. So, do you have
even casting out of your graveyard?
Right. Do flashback. Whatever you want to do. Do you have a general build for this yet? Is this something you definitely want to build on?
I have to wait for the set to come out completely. I'm trying to keep myself to one commander per new set if I build one at all, like to stop myself. So I want to see what else comes out because there's two other ones that are also kind of in contention. So I don't want to hog the time. If you want to go back and forth between your card and then I'll go back over mine.
No, listen, let me just go take a piss because I'm drinking too much.
And we're
all right. All right, so hit me for your other contention for a commander.
Okay. So the next one I don't even want to build because I feel like this is going to be the most popular commander of the set, and it's just going to be everywhere. I think this card is absolutely bonkers, and it's very exciting. But so that's why I don't want to build it. But Obeka, Splitter of Seconds, is going to be some wild and crazy shit. Actually, I hope somebody else in our play group builds it because this is a very type of deck to build. So I'd love to see somebody else put this in rotation so I can play against it. But anyway, let me continue. 1 and Grixis for a 2/5 with Menace. And whenever Obeka deals combat damage to a player, you get that many additional upkeep steps after this phase. There are so many things that trigger during upkeeps that you'd want to have more of. I mean, hell, basically every upkeep commander or card wants to run like Paradox Haze, which just gives you an extra, upkeep step after your original one. This has potential to be insane. Bump up Obeka, get like 7 upkeep triggers after your combat step, and then an additional main phase. Like, there's a lot you could do just to devastate people with that.
Joel, I think you have to build it. I think this is on you.
It's
I wouldn't
terrible.
even know where to start with this, but I could see the potential. I took a screenshot of this just to call it out because I've seen you do some horrible things with upkeeps and
Yeah,
extra
this would be
upkeeps.
great. This
Yeah,
would be so great.
I wouldn't even know what to do with it. This might be something you got to just go for because this is a great card. This is exactly what we're looking for in Commander at our level of Commander, where it's like I want powerful stuff, but I want it to be something that has to get built around, not just power for power. And Obeka can be something wild. The fact that she's a 2/5 with menace, so she could kind of just ping if you got to
A
do
little
things
bit of
with it. But
evasion, yeah.
yeah, just it. I mean, 5 toughness is great, and for 4 mana to be able to start this going off, I think this is a cool card.
I mean, just think
I
about all
really
the
like
things like at the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses whatever, or I mean, you could kill yourself with Phyrexian Arena and draw like 30 cards, or
it.
which is probably what's gonna happen. There's a
Dude, I didn't
card
even think about that. Yeah, is Black Market also upkeep, or is that beginning of pre-combat main phase?
pre-combat main.
Oh, okay, okay,
Um,
yeah.
but I also saw online people mentioning there's that card Darksteel Reactor where the beginning of your upkeep, you let me pull it up real quick. It already apparently skyrocketed in price
I mean, even you
as
could just
soon as this
midnight
got
clock with
spoiled.
this, and just get like midnight clock will flip faster. You'll just be sifting through your hand with that.
Yeah, market price went from like $10 to like $20. I guess
Jeez,
no, they're still
amazing.
going for like you could still get them for cheap. But anyway, Darksteel Reactor is a 4 mana indestructible artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, you put a charge counter on it. When it has 20 or more charge counters, you win the game.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah, so
that'll
that
do
that
it.
that that 100% goes into Obeka.
Yeah, so you give her a little bit of pump. You swing. Let's say you deal 4 or 5 damage with her, and that's already 5 counters right there.
Yeah.
And then you proliferate because you're in blue and
Yep.
black, and you do your thing and just finish it off.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. Hell yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so Obeka is
Someone's got
gonna
to
be
build it.
bonkers. I hope somebody builds it.
Yeah.
And I
Uh,
love that. Hold on, side story. 2 for 2 on Obeka's being fucking cool. Because when the first Obeka got spoiled, I was like, that's the coolest thing. I actually built that Obeka at one point. Um, it didn't work for me as well I would like it to. Ultimately, Zevlor kind of edged it out for me.
yeah.
In my like Grixis, I'm trying not to have like 30 decks of the same color, and Grixis keeps drawing me back in. Just when I thought I was out, it brings me back. Um, so, but yeah, she's really cool.
I really like the first one. If I was to build one, it would be the first one. So, all right, here, let's put it that way. I said that if you were going to build that one Demir card, I'll build uh, the fairy. And if you build this Obeka, I'll build the other Obeka. I'm using you as an excuse to build as many commander decks as I want. That's all this really is. I'm just making excuses to build more decks.
Yeah, and I just want other people to
Because I
do drugs with.
that's yeah. I've always wanted that the first Obeka, and you ended up building it, and I just always wanted to get so weird with it, man. Just anybody being able to end turns, even if it hurts me, even if it hurts me, that first Obeka, just giving that as an option for everybody to end a turn, I love it.
Yeah, that's great.
Um, but okay, so for Thunder Junction Commanders, I really like the new Ariete.
Yes,
Um,
Beguiler.
okay, the Beguiler. So Ariete the Beguiler, it's 1 in Esper, 1 white, blue, black, 4/4. So a 4 mana 4/4 with lifelink is awesome. She's a human warlock, which is an outlaw, in case it matters. Whenever an aura you control becomes attached to a non-land permanent an opponent controls with mana value less than or equal to that aura's mana value, gain control of that permanent for as long as that aura is attached to it. Oh, dude, I love auras. Especially like uh damn.
The impetuses.
The impetuses. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I knew you were gonna
Dude, I'm losing
say it.
it
I
today.
knew you. I
You
know
know it.
you.
You know it. Oh, the ghoulish, the shinies, I love a good impetus. I love it. And honestly, so the problem is actually now that we're saying it out loud, putting an impetus on something means you get control of it possibly.
Yes.
And then it's not even like they're swinging with it. You're now stuck with that creature. So I would actually have to build it totally different to how I would think it would go. But I'm sure there's tons of ways of enchanting opponents' things and gaining control of it that'll do it. Now, all right, so if there's something like a you can you equip artifacts to other players? Like does an enchantment aura have to specifically say um that it can be equipped to others, or do all
I
auras
think
possibly get
I think all auras can target any creature.
anything?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. There
It's
you go.
just that
Yeah,
most
I
of the
hear you looking
time,
it up. Yeah.
yeah, just most of the time,
You would never.
you wouldn't want to.
Right. So does an impetus say specifically an opponent controls then, but other auras don't? Oh, you're on it. I love it.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm gonna pause one. And we're back. Sorry about that. Yeah. So impetuses just say enchant creature. So it's just there's no
Damn. Okay.
there's no reason to do that.
Okay. So just run pump enchantments and put
Yeah,
them on your
all
opponent's
all
card.
all of the typical. Essentially, what's really cool about her is she's an Esper, but you're just running your typical kind of like I want to say Voltron-y, but like the Voltron-y kind of enchantments, where actually no, I would and me personally built her straight Voltron type of status. However, you just if possible take your opponent's creatures if they have anything that's powerful. The rest of your Voltron pieces are to keep her alive in Esper, because ultimately your side win con is just commander damage with her. So steal your opponent's best things that are threatening you, or pump her for swinging for lethal. That's really
Hmm.
what I would play it as.
That's an awesome way to do it. Yeah. So you don't have to be playing stuff that targets opponent's stuff, because
Yeah, you're not.
if you're
Yeah,
pumping something, you're going to get control of it and it'll really be yours anyway. That's so beguiling.
yeah, and if they remove the aura, like you know what I mean, like if they remove the aura, then it's whatever. They get the creature back. They don't get
They
it
get the
with your aura.
right, right. And it's not like an ETB happens for them or anything like that. It's like they just get their creature back that they had prior to it being pumped anyway.
Yeah.
I googled the definition of beguiling. I was curious. Charming or enchanting, often in a deceptive way. A beguiling mixture of English, French, and Italian. I don't know what that last sentence says means really, but perfect. Ariette the Beguiler and her wanted poster artwork is worthy of Commander.
I think you should
So
build that. I think that's your commander.
I honestly, out of this set, that would possibly be the one. Again, just because
And
it's cool.
you could um still use her original card from Eldraine.
Yeah, yeah, they work in tandem. I like it. Here's another card that I really like for my Cast from Exile Jan Jensen deck is Laughing Jasper Flint.
Yes.
1 black red, so 3 mana, 4/3. It is a lizard rogue, so he is an outlaw. Creatures you control but don't own are mercenaries in addition to their others creature types. So you want to take control of your opponents. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top X cards of target opponent's library, where X is the number of outlaws I control. Until end of turn, you may cast spells from among them and mana of any type in order to cast it. So he comes out for 3 mana, 4/3. Fantastic stats. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile at least one from one of your opponent's cards. So if you're in standard, you're going to do it to your opponent, and you're going to get at least one card. In commander, let's say you get 2. That is awesome. A 3 mana 4/3, but you also can do that. And if you happen to take control of someone else's creatures, it'll pump what you're doing. I think Jasper Flint is something you can build around. I think it's something great for my Cast from Exile deck. I think a 4/3, 3 mana is awesome. I think Laughing Jasper Flint will be a great card for Commander.
Sidestep note. What did you think of junk tokens when you finally got to play with them?
So my one play with them, I really didn't get to make too many junk tokens. It was at the very end of the game that I started making them, and the game just ended. So I didn't get to use it. What I did get to do, though, was I had one junk token, and I turned it in a whole bunch of treasure with Jasper. Jan Jensen. Jasper. Oh, this is Jasper. All right. Yeah. The beer's hitting me, buddy. So Jan Jensen, I didn't get to use too many treasure tokens. Now, in all of my gold fishing with it, I was making a bunch. There was one point where at like turn 5, I had 4, junk tokens. Mm-hmm. But until we sit down and play together, I'm not going to be able to really test it all out. Plus, I was missing a few cards from that deck too. So it was at an 80% build when I actually played it. But we're all set now. I can't wait though. I can't wait. Next Friday? Is it next Friday for sure?
Yeah,
that's okay.
I'm in. I'm committing.
All right. Even if someone has to call out or something, we'll make sure we pull it in.
We find somebody. Yeah.
I need it so badly.
Yeah, especially with all this set coming out, making me all excited.
Yeah, hot and bothered.
Yeah.
All right. I want to actually call out a card and see whether it's as good as I'm thinking it is. It is Claim Jumper.
Huge. Love it.
Okay. All right. Cool. Because, yeah, I think this is actually wild. 2 for Commander. It's 2 and a white. So a 3 mana 3/3 with Vigilance. Good stats. When Claim Jumper enters the battlefield, if an opponent controls more lands than you may search your library for a Plains card, put it onto the battlefield, tapped. Then, if an opponent controls more lands than you, repeat this process. If you do, search your library and then shuffle. So you can possibly ramp twice.
Yep.
In white.
For 3 mana.
Just because one of your opponents was.
Yeah, playing against any green deck that's, turn 2, they play the Rampant Growth or whatever, or Farseek, and then turn 3, they're hitting the Kadama's Reach or Cultivate, and then you go, and then you're all of a sudden now also at 5 lands just like the green deck. So this card I love. It's fantastic. Any deck that's not green with that, any 2-color deck that doesn't have green, and you could maybe even argue 3 colors. That's where I'd say it's a little sketchy because it's exclusively plains. I tend to stay away from effects that find specific colors in 3-color decks. But any 2-color white non-green combo, I feel like can run this because that's huge. That's it's like hyper catch-up ramp. That's awesome. I love this card.
Claim Jumper for 3 mana is technically a better Kadama's Reach.
Yeah, it could be.
Because the Kadama's Reach for 3 mana can get 1 to the battlefield, 1 to hand, but Claim Jumper can technically get 2 lands to the battlefield right away.
Yep.
For 3 mana. And you get a 3/3 Vigilance creature.
Phenomenal. Yeah, that's the other thing too. That's my favorite part of this is that the mana cost, the body, the Vigilance. It didn't need Vigilance to be like a decent play, but at the same time, it's it's on curve. It has vigilance, and it could do that. Man, I love Claim Jumper, and also the artwork's pretty cool. It's a rabbit mercenary. Like, what is that?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, the hat with its ears through the hat. That's a nice hat.
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah. Claim Jumper is great. I don't know. I think that this is just another step towards white being fucking great. Now, for standard too, standard there's a deck that goes around that ramps really hard, and there's a battle that when it enters the battlefield, put 2 lands tapped onto the battlefield. In this battle, I've been running across a lot, and then they end up casting, Titan of Industry and a Tali
yeah.
and all these
That's
big things.
my mono green deck essentially.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So like you play that, and I play Claim Jumper for 3 mana, and I just ramped up with you for
Yep.
1 mana less. So it's great.
You want to pick our last 3 since we're approaching an hour?
Oh Jesus. Okay, let's start with Akul the Unrepentant.
Yeah, metal.
There we go. So black, red, a 4 mana 5/5 with flying and trample. 4 mana 5/5 with flample. Sacrifice 3 other creatures. You may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. This can only be activated once per turn as a sorcery. It does not say tapped. You could put haste creatures out, sacrifice trash, put out a fat haste, and swing.
Yeah, man.
My aggro side loves Akul the Unrepentant so much. What do you think?
And I love this. And also the fact that the thing that you're putting out doesn't get sacrificed. So it's not like the typical like cheater effect like sneak attack or Perforos or Ilharg where you lose it. It stays. So yeah, I love this card. I think that card is cool as hell. I don't know if I would build it as a commander, so to speak, but I want to see it in something.
Oh, this is a standard card for me. This is something you play in standard that'll deal tons of damage. Someone targets something of yours, you sacrifice your 1/2s drops, and I love it. I love the aggressiveness of this.
Well, actually, I was thinking is that I had mentioned there was another the commander. Actually, the other thing that I would possibly build is Rakdos the Muscle.
Yes,
because I know that all of our play group, runs Rakdos. Everyone has a Rakdos deck of some sort. Actually, side story: do you have your own Rakdos deck currently? Are you currently Rakdos-less?
No, my Rakdos is Rowan, which is a very,
very powerful
CEDH.
Yeah,
That's
word. Okay.
I can't.
So I've flirted with different Rakdos strategies. I had Jury. I would say that was my favorite. Jury ends up not doing it for me in the long run, but Rakdos seems pretty cool. And I was always the biggest fan of God Eternal Bantu.
Yes.
I believe, where you ETBs and you sacrifice and you draw cards equal to what you sacrifice. So
yeah,
I could see making just like a bunch of little devils. In fact, I'd probably make like a cool little like devil deck where like, the devils die, they deal 1 damage, but you're also getting effects from like the sacrificing effects of Rakdos, and this guy can sacrifice the devils to bring something huge out. So
yeah. I mean, cool. There's also that plot card from this set, Pitiless Carnage. The artwork is so metal, and the name Pitiless Carnage.
Yeah, it's like my band.
Dude, yeah. The 3 and a black sorcery, sacrifice any number of permanents you control. Draw that many cards.
Yeah.
It's literally Bantu.
Yeah, Bantu on a sorcery.
But you can plot it. So that way you just put it off to the side, and then when you're ready, sacrifice what you need and draw that many cards without having to pay a single mana for it. So Pitiless Carnage is legit. And for something like Rakdos. And is that something you're really going to build? Would you do it? Would you do it?
It's considering. I'm considering it. Those all also might find their way into Caesar.
Yes.
Because Caesar wants to go wide and sacrifice trash.
Yeah. Sack that trash. All right. I got a question for you about a commander. Breaches the Blastmaker. 1 blue-red 3/3. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, you may sacrifice an artifact. If you do, flip a coin. When you win the flip, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. When you lose the flip, Breaches the Blastmaker deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to any target. Should I replace Krark with Breaches the Blastmaker? Is this a better flip commander for instants and sorceries?
Yes. Well, okay, so hold on. I'm biased here, and I'll explain why.
Okay.
Number
All right.
one, adding another color almost universally makes your deck more powerful because you have more tools to use. So that's off the bat. So you're getting another color. Number two is when you lose the flip, you still get something out of the spell as opposed to not getting to cast it at all.
Yeah, it'll still resolve, and you're going to deal damage equal to the CMC to any target.
Yes.
But if it does win the coin flip, I do copy it just like I would with Krark.
And you could still run Krark as,
Yes. Damn it.
in the deck. So you possibly get the 2 copies.
Damn it. Yeah, dude. Breaches is so good.
Now,
That's exactly what I was trying
the
to
difference, though, is that actually, the difference, which I also find is a strength, is that this only activates on the second spell you cast each turn, as opposed to Kark, which I believe is every spell that you cast.
Yes. Well, yes, every instant and sorcery, yes.
Yeah, so the reason why I think that's almost is beneficial to you is that then when you run into those situations, because there were once or twice when you were in a position where you could have either won or increased your standing significantly if something hit and you just needed it to hit once, and through all of the luck of the multiple times of trying to copy it, it ended up failing every time. At least with this, now you have the control of saying, okay, if this got copied, it would be cool, but you also have the ability to say, I need this to land. I'm gonna cast, whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Yeah, and it's hard because I'd like to put Breaches into the 99, but I obviously can't because it's Izzet, and my deck is a mono red. So it's one of those things where I would have to put this at the helm in order to allow it to be part of the deck. I can't just throw it in the 99.
yeah.
So yeah, I've read this card and I'm at this impasse of like, I really, really like my Krark deck, but this in every rational way seems like a better commander for exactly what I built my deck to do.
Exactly.
Except,
you have to change much at all.
Dude, I could leave it where what I had 4 blue cards, just those 4 blue cards that I really need for the deck, and then just leave it mono red for the most part.
Honestly, it's just a splash.
Yeah, just so I could play my commander to do what I got to do. So that's something I gotta think about. But Breaches was a great card that they released. I really like
that. So one of my second to last card is and you have to remind me actually if we talked about it. Did we discuss Sword of Wealth and Power before?
Mildly, but let's do it again because that card's fucking great.
Oh yeah, no. Sword of Wealth and Power, 3 mana. It's another sword in the sword cycle. 3 mana, equip 2 cost. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from instants and sorceries. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. Then, when you next cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn, you copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. I think this is now going to be the easily top 3 best swords in Commander, is my opinion.
So what you're saying is everyone needs to run a Braids to destroy this sword.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not only is the effect cool, but also the artwork on both the regular art and the vault treatment art is like awesome. Yeah. And I think protection from instants and sorceries is huge. Everyone likes getting a treasure, and copying an instant or sorcery, it's just a free copy is awesome. So love this card.
Yeah.
Super excited. Dude, hope I pull one.
Any aggro deck, just throw it in there, see if it helps it out. It's great stuff. Hey, hold on a second. Now we're back. All right. What else you got?
And And my last card that I want to point out today, and I'm sure we'll cover more next week,
Yeah.
but is I love Roxanne Starfall Savant.
Ooh, I don't
So
even know this card. Hit me.
yeah, three red green, so 5 mana for a 4/3 cat druid. Whenever Roxanne Starfall Savant enters the battlefield or attacks, you create a tapped colorless artifact token named Meteorite. When Meteorite ETBs, it deals 2 damage to any target, and you could tap it for 1 mana of any color. And whenever you tap an artifact token for mana, add 1 mana of any type that artifact token produced. So it's doubling your token artifacts. So all your treasures tap and sack for 2 now, essentially. But I also just love that she summons meteorites that deal 2 damage to anything. If you can make copies of, if you make token copies, you're dealing a ton of damage with these meteorites. They're tapping for a ton of mana. Literally, she makes it all tap for 2, so you're ramping like crazy. She just seems fun. One also interesting thing is, based on the artwork, I saw somebody on Reddit point out that it almost seems like she should have been part of Infinity. Um, which I kind of agree with, like based on like the color palette and like the art style, it
Hmm.
seems very like whimsical. Um, so
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was an Infinity card that made its way over. But yeah, I really like the idea of making a bunch of meteorites and poking people with them.
Yeah, dude, that's a cool thing to think about. It was like this card was so fantastic that it fought its way out of infinity and into the multiverse.
Yeah.
Because it's a beautiful card. I mean, yeah, even the fact that there's like a chicken with armor
Yeah,
at the
awesome.
bottom,
Cool. Yeah.
it's so good. And powerful. And this is something you can definitely build around in Commander and make some real shit happen because mana rocks are great. Obviously,
Power
mana's a
stones. All
thing.
those power stones, those are
Yeah.
tokens.
Yeah. And also it's dealing damage. So that's something good. City on Fire, is that the one to the Inferno? Those enchantments that triple the damage. Fiery Conscription, no.
Oh
Hit
yeah,
me.
what is
Hit me,
it?
buddy.
I don't remember. Chandra, no, not Chandra's
One of them City
Ignition.
on Fire, I believe.
Sure,
And
yeah,
the first
those
one is
maned triplers. You know
you
those.
know the ones. Yeah. But like wouldn't oh no, the meteorites are not
Yeah, they're
colored.
artifacts.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So no. But still some cool shit. Okay, so ultimately in a assumption, I have a card or two to still mention, but in summary, this is a pretty good fucking set. I mean, this has tons of awesome cards for Commander for Standard. This is a set that, although the introduction of it was campy and kind of cringy, this is a sick set. I really like Thunder Junction.
Yeah, I will have to say that I wasn't super excited about it when I heard about it. I was much more excited for Murders. And then Murders had some cool cards that I was very interested in, but I would say that this set I'm more surprised about and how much I enjoy. And I think ultimately I like this set better
Yeah.
than Murders, even with what we have spoiled so far.
I gotta admit that every time I hear Thunder Junction in my head, I go, Thunder Junction,
Yeah.
what's your function?
And that's the name of the
Every
episode.
every yeah, that's the name. Every time I hear it, that's all I can think to myself. So God help us. But all right. I do want to shout out Bristly Bill the Spine Sower.
Hell yeah. Cactus folk.
Dude, one in a black. Oh, one in a black. I wish. One in a green 2/2. So a 2 mana 2/2 plant druid. I wish it was a fungus or a sapperling because it could fit into the deck I was talking about the other week. But so it has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. It does not have to be Bristly Bill. It could be any creature. So if you have that mount that doubles counters, put it on that mount. You could put it on anything. If you have this out with the mount, you could, drop a land, put a 1/1 counter on a creature with trample, and then the mount will put a 1/1 creature on the trample, and then you can use the mount to double that creature with trample. So there's a lot you could do. Bristly Bill as a 2-mana 2/2 that every landfall puts a 1/1 counter on target creature, but also the mount doubles. So does Bristly Bill. You could pay 3 green, double the number of 1/1 counters on each creature you control. Not just the creature that has all those 1/1 counters, but all of them. Everything. Bristly Bill is wild. I think it's a little overpowered, and I expect to see some shit from Bristly Bill.
Bristly Bill.
Bristly Bill, that legendary little
Also,
guy.
I love the design of Cactus Folk. I think they're cool, like fantasy race of creature.
Dude, cactus, armadillos, opossums. We got some good stuff from the set.
They're prepping us for Bloomborough with their small animals.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, lubing us up, getting us ready to get into those animals. Oh, Jesus. All right. Honest Rudstein is a 1 black green 3/2. When Honest Rudstein enters the battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So it's a 3-mana 3/2 that returns a card, but also creature spells you control cast one less to cast. Honest Rudstein for those big CMC creatures is a great thing. It's just something you could drop turn 3, return your 1-drop or 2-drop that got killed right off the bat back to your hand so that you have card advantage, and then it'll also make everything you cast a lot cheaper. So Honest Redstein is something that we need to be aware of. He is not a thing that'll win the game, but he's a thing that'll facilitate you to win the game. And then the last card that I honestly want to mention is a dud. Vile Smasher Gleeful Grenadier. Black red. He is a 2-mana 3/2. Whenever an outlaw enters a battlefield under your control, Vile Smasher Gleeful Grenadier deals 1 damage to target opponent. That's useless for goblins. That is useless. I think this card is a waste of a slot. I don't see anything good about this card. I don't like it. And as much as I love Vile Smasher, I think this card is trash.
Hot damn.
Yeah.
All right. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Trash.
Yeah. Fun or trash. Vile Smasher is trash. And it won't go anywhere, and he could go fuck himself. I hate it. I really am very unhappy with this Vile Smasher and what it does. And on that note, buddy.
Well, before we end.
Yes.
I have to ask. So at one point in time, you built a Fipplethip deck as a meme, essentially. And the original Fipplethip is not really conducive for a commander deck. Yes. With this new Fipplethip being spoiled, which I feel like has a much more clear build path to it and way of going about it. Any interest in new Fipplethip?
It's a 3-mana 1/1 with Ward 2. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. The top card of your library has plot. The plot cost is equal to the mana cost. You may plot non-land cards from the top of your library. No.
All right.
No. There's no.
That was my fun or trash. That was my fun or trash.
I think it's trash because there, as we went over, plot is nice, but like it is not good. It is not something that's putting advantage to you. You still have to pay the same amount of mana, and you have to fucking wait a turn while everyone stares at it.
Yeah.
So it's like it's molasses. It's just going so slow, and it's just fibble. It's as a 34-year-old man, I've learned that confidence is half of how you get anywhere. And Fibblethip has no damn confidence. He's there. He's being timid, paying the plot cost, but not actually casting it. Get out of here, Fibblethip.
All right.
I want a Fibblethip that has found who he is. Come on, confident Fibblethip, please. No trash. I don't like it.
All right.
The old Fibblethip was great though because he embraced the fact that he was this,
the weird scared side
guy.
piece.
He's just looking for his dad, and he'll run away if you target him. I like that one. There was one more card I wanted to mention, but I honestly don't know if I can find it now.
We'll
So
save
we
it for
might
next
just
week.
save it for next week. Oh no, Jace
No.
Reawakened.
Oh
Jace
yeah.
Reawakened. Let's just talk about it real quick. It's a blue 3 loyalty. You can't cast a spell during your first, second, or third turn the game. That alone right there. That's what we have to read. Fuck his other things. You can't cast this spell first, second, or third turn, which reads as useless to me. Useless. Is there any point that you would ever put this in your deck if you literally can't cast it first, second, or third turn?
I mean, if you can cast it on their turn. It says your first, second, or third. So if you can cast it on their turn.
All right. And how are you doing that in standard?
Oh, I don't know about standard. I don't give a fuck about standard.
Okay. All right. So let's say you get around that in Commander. What does this do? Draw a card, then discard a card? There's uncommons I won't run because that's the text on them, you know? Like, you may exile a non-land card with mana value 3 or less from your hand. If you do, it becomes plotted. Dude.
So that's okay. So that's up mana. You're paying 2 to cast something for 3 for free. If you pay, mana 3 or more.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's great. I'm not trying to sit
Okay.
here and tell you it's fantastic.
Yeah. And it's -6s until end of turn. Whenever you cast a spell, copy it. You may cast. Dude, Jace Reawakened can go back to bed. Get out of here.
Go back to sleep.
Yeah, get out of here. Vraska doesn't love you. Get out of here. Is that too harsh? Was that too much?
No, it's fine. This is just fine.
Sorry, Jace. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
Are there cards that can give him plot too? Because no, never mind.
Nope.
You wouldn't.
I mean, Fibblethip could give him plot, but you'll still have to wait. Yeah, plot him out turn 3. That way, turn 4 he could come out. Get out of here. Get out of here. I don't like it. But yeah, dude. All right, so I love this set. I'm excited to see what else comes out of this. Regardless, I will be at the pre-release. Hopefully, I can meet you there for that. Because this seems like a good set for a sealed pool.
Yeah,
the mounting, this is a cool set. These cards are cool. All these 1/1 counters, all of these spree modal cards. This is something that you want in limited. So I'm excited for this. And there's a Baron in here, but we'll talk about that next week, brother. It is 9:30 in the morning. Let's go get our day started. I'm lit. I got a million knives to make. I think we reached the bottom of the glass. Episode 22, man. I will see you next week. We will talk about the rest of this set, and maybe we'll have played Magic by then.
Sure. Hopefully.
God willing. Take it easy.
It's a lot.